Hey guys, I am in between appointments today and I want to talk to you a little bit about common errors I'm seeing in the Florida FAR Bar as-is contract. I'm Leanne Jameson from Dwell Real Estate. I am the broker of record and I also do sell to my own personal sphere. So I'm often doing compliance for our agents' files, and I've also been doing this for quite a long time myself. So I want to talk about a couple things that I'm seeing a lot just to watch out for when you are preparing an as-is Florida contract. The first thing that I'm seeing is owner of record in seller name. You can never have owner of record in seller name. It needs to be the actual seller's name or their LLC or company name. If you're not sure or it doesn't say for some reason in public records, you're going to have to call the listing agent and get that. But it's not a valid contract with owner of record. The second thing, the contracts have changed. It does say that all existing appliances at the time, but you'll notice that it doesn't say washer and dryer. Now, let's say that MLS says washer and dryer is included, but you don't put in washer and dryer in the contract. That washer and dryer does not go with the property. So something very important to make sure you put in there. The other thing I had started to do back in the days of short sales and foreclosures, I actually had it happen where I had I was representing a buyer and there was a stainless steel fridge in the kitchen, and we got to final walkthrough and they had changed it for an old white refrigerator. And because I guess we didn't specify, they thought that was okay, and it got down to closing day and we weren't able to really fight for that. So sometimes it makes sense if there is a particular expensive brand of appliance, maybe to put in there, Gen Air refrigerator or Wolf range, things like that, because you don't want those swapped out or to have a problem at final walkthrough. The other thing is to watch what items are included or are not included. Typically fixtures or things that are attached to the properties, like a chandelier. If the seller wants to take those, you need to make sure that those are excluded, or if the buyer wants to keep those, it makes sense to put that as an included item just to be sure. The other thing I'm seeing a lot is no escrow agent filled in. Now, let's make it clear that there is a difference between escrow agent and title agent. You can put in as an agent whoever you want to hold the escrow deposit. It can be any title company. It doesn't necessarily have to be the one that the seller is choosing to close with. So a lot of agents don't realize that there is a difference between escrow agent and the closing agent. Also on the first page of the contract, on or before for closing date. I'm seeing this a lot and it tends to cause a lot of problems. You're better to just put in a closing date and adjust that later with an addendum if everybody decides they want to move closing up. The problem you might have if you leave it as on or before, first of all, lenders don't like it. But secondly, let's say that the buyer wants to close earlier, but the seller doesn't. Well, it says on or before, so you could have a little bit of issue brought up because of that. So don't use on or before. The third thing, on the home warranty, if you are asking for a home warranty up to a certain amount, make sure you put in the company that the buyer is choosing or put buyer's choice. Otherwise, I've seen where that's caused some disputes with the seller. If a seller perhaps sees that there's a home warranty available for cheaper, you just want to fill in as many of those fields as possible so that you don't have disputes down the road. And then the final thing that drives me absolutely crazy is when people ask for closing cost assistance. There's a certain way you need to word this. In the additional terms, you should say something like, seller to contribute 3% of purchase price towards buyer's closing costs and prepaid items. If you just say 3% and not 3% of purchase price, this can cause a major problem. And you also want to make sure you're saying and prepaid items. The other way to avoid that completely is just to put in a dollar amount so that everybody is clear. I think I almost prefer that, and your lender can tell you exactly what amount, depending on what type of loan you're doing, is allowable. But anyway, those are just the things that I'm seeing the most when I'm doing compliance that you can watch out for and make sure your contracts are cleaner. Thanks again, Leanne Jameson from Dwell Real Estate.